Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Girl Dad Show. I'm so excited to welcome Stephen to the show. Stephen, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Young. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, I'm super excited to interview you because I feel like we just hung out for our twin birthdays.
I know. It was nice. Yeah.
Let's jump right into it, Stephen. Why don't you tell the listeners what you do for a living?
Okay. We have a manufacturing company here in Tulsa, a couple. Our primary focus at HSI is to manufacture refining and petrochemical equipment, vessels, columns, towers, fired heaters. HSI has about 215, 220 employees. We have a sister company, Mohawk Field Services, and they execute construction in the refinery and chemical plant spaces. Also support maintenance and turnaround projects there. EPTI is the parent company of the two. I'm the CEO of EPTI and the president of HSI, so it's a full plate for sure, but we do a lot of really cool stuff. We get to build things, and that's always exciting to me. And to take raw materials and create equipment and that's high quality and serves a purpose to help society and all of us just continue to do the things that we normally do, live life like we do, and it's a fun thing. A lot of good people work here.
Yeah, I love the team. I got a chance to visit you on site, and it's an incredible company, and it's very, very inspiring from my perspective, getting to see these infrastructure things being built, right, that help us have a lot of the stuff that we use on a day-to-day basis. And it's incredible business. And so I love what you're building, and I can't wait to share and learn more about what you're building. But this is the Girl Dad Show after all. So let's talk a little bit about your dad life. Talk to me about your family. Do you have, how old are your kids, and when did you start having them? And
Yes. Man, I was a late bloomer. I met my wife whenever I was 17 at church. And that's a whole episode into itself. She didn't want to have anything to do with me, right? That's the truth. 10 years went by, and actually it was about 11 years went by, and she did not like me. I knew whenever I saw her that the first time that this is the girl that I like and that I want to be with. And so 10 years passed. And real quickly, after we got reacquainted, we ended up getting married. And so I was 30 when we got married. And we had we had challenges with conceiving, right?
Yeah.
And so we went through about 5 years of trying, a lot of good practice, but with no results. And we ended up utilizing IVF, and the first round of IVF that we did, it was not successful. So we were pretty bummed, and then went through a second round and ended up being able to having our first daughter, Lilly, and she's 14 now. And then we kept utilizing the embryos that we had in the bank, and took us a few more tries, and then we were blessed with Madeline, who is she's our second and our youngest. I think she's still 10. She'll be 12 here in a couple months.
Yeah, they grow up so fast. I was just talking to my wife about how it's so surprising because my Lily's going to be in 4th grade next year, and I'm like, man, time is flying so fast. But I also love that we share the same name for our first daughters. That's awesome.
Isn't that neat?
So neat. So many commonalities. I feel like that episode in the scene in that movie Step Brothers, where we're like, do we just become best friends? So much room for activities.
There's so much room.
So I do have a kind of a personal question. So if your wife was declining you and your ambitions for her for 10 years,
yes.
What was the move? What was the thing that sold her? How did you convince her to see the light?
So we met, and I fell in love at first sight.
Mm-hmm.
I did not think that she would give me a chance. And so instead of trying to develop that relationship, I went for her best friend, who was low-hanging fruit, I guess. And so that didn't start out very great for us.
Oh, no.
And then, but it was shortly thereafter we started talking and we started dating a little bit. She was getting ready to, I was a year older than she was. She was getting ready to take off and go to college. She left, went to college in Texas, kind of got a little dicey. She wanted to do her life, but we kept in contact, right? And that was back in MySpace time period, okay? And so we were friends on MySpace. I'd send her flowers on her birthday every 2 or 3 years, just kind of reminding her that, hey, I'm still here in the background. She went to a Christian college in Waxahachie, and so she was engaged. She was moving on with her life. That didn't work out for her, and so it was like Labor Day. It was 2 or 3 days before Labor Day weekend in 2006. And she was on MySpace. I was on MySpace.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
I'd been engaged 2 times prior, but never could pull the trigger. And so I was at my house with my dog, and I thought, you know what? It's time to do something. I'm going to be 30, and it's either going to happen or it's not. So I sent her a MySpace message, and I was like, hey, I don't know what you have going on, but I haven't been able to do anything commitment-wise to move forward with anyone else because you're hanging around in the background of my head. And I'm going to come down there this weekend, and if you have time to see me and you want to see me, great. If not, I'll have made my final effort, and then I'm just going to move on with life, right?
Oh, wow.
And she said, come on down. And so I showed up. I got there. I got in town about 6 o'clock. I was going to take her to dinner at 7, and she said she'd call me when she was ready. And it was about 10 o'clock when she finally called me to
oh my
say
God,
she was ready for me to come pick her up. The next day, we were planning our wedding, and it was about 30 days after that we got married.
Wow.
That
So it was like
years ago.
it was basically an overnight marriage,
Pretty much, yeah. She moved up to Tulsa, and we ran over to Arkansas and got married. Just small ceremony. My parents, her parents, and I think her siblings and one of mine. So yeah, we both decided we'd wasted enough time. We needed to just go ahead and get things going.
It's a beautiful story, and I will say it highlights an incredible amount of persistence. I will say that you definitely were a determined man. That's a
Yes.
love story that spans decades.
Yes, and it was so worth it too. I mean, and that really plays into where we're at with our daughters. I mean, and with me in my role, I'm very occupied. I wish I had better time management skills because there's just so many things that are happening here in the business, in the organization, in our family. And if it weren't for her and the things that she does and contributes to our household, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing, and certainly not at the level that we're at. I think that's key to any parenting relationship. To be successful, you have to have someone who is a true partner with you, that is saddled up beside you and understands that we are in this thing truly together, and a real partnership.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I'm hoping I'm getting older and wiser. I know I'm getting older, but I'm hoping the wiser part's coming in tow with that. But I will say the older I get, the more I realize the most influential person is my wife. It's actually not my business partners or staff or whoever. Like, she can quite literally change my perception and perspective on any business problem that I face. She can either bring me down or lift me up, and it's just unbelievably influential. And so I think you're absolutely accurate that, it can make or change everything. And so that's incredible. I love that. And I know this, but I'd love to know more about you being a CEO of this company. And so how did you start with the company, and can you bring us along the journey of like your work history and how you landed here as the CEO of EPTI?
Love to, yes. So my father founded this business in 1988. He had been in several other organizations. He had started a business, sold it to a large corporation right before the oil crash. So he had been boom and bust. He and his business partners had came from the turnaround industry, so they had a lot of experience in this work. And so in '88, he was ready to start over again and build something else. And so we started HSI. At that time, it was just a refractory installation company. Another business that we were affiliated with, that they would do the fabrication work. We wouldn't compete with them on the fabrication side. We would just do refractory. And so that's how we started, and then over the last 36, 37 years developed to where we are. I started in the company in 1999 was my last time to officially hire on. I'd hired on 2 or 3 times over my teenage years, and started out here when I was about 12 mowing the grass and
Oh, that's
painting,
awesome. You mean
yeah,
oh, that's
cleaning the
awesome.
shops and doing
Yeah.
that stuff. And then, but started in '99 in our drafting department. I had spent some time at John Brown University in Siloam Springs, and then came back home and went to work in the drafting department here. Worked there for a few years, and then moved into estimating, and then project management, and then estimating again, and then it's a great opportunity in this business. If a person comes in, you can bounce around through several different divisions or departments and get exposure to all the things that we do. And
Right.
so when you're in drafting, you learn, you're drawing. Everything we build, we create our own drawings for. So when you spend time in that department, you're learning, you're actually drawing, building everything on paper or on a computer that they're doing in the shop. So you're learning the fabrication sequence. You're learning the materials of construction, how the welds go together, and so then you go into estimating, you learn the costing of it all, the man hours, the materials, how we can make profit on the jobs, and then you start challenging yourself, figure out ways to do it that you can beat your competition, get aggressive with it, think outside the box. Just
Right.
because we've done this thing this way historically doesn't mean we have to do it tomorrow. So I spent time in all these. My dad moved me through the organization intently to expose me to the things that I needed to be. So then it was about 2007, 2009, somewhere around in there, I moved into the director of projects for the company. So I was over all the project managers, all the work that was being done. Worked hand in hand with the president at the time, Alan Jackson. He was a great mentor. Completely different philosophy and approach than what I was trained under my dad. So it was a great experience for me. And then in 2021, I moved into the vice president role of HSI for about 5 or 6 years. And then in 2021, that's whenever president role. And so I was president of HSI for about 6 months, and then my dad passed away. Sudden illness. Was working on a Friday, didn't feel good over the weekend, went to the hospital, and 2 weeks later he was dead. It was a complete shock to all of us. Yeah. I am the only boy in a family. I have 3 sisters, 2 older and 1 younger, and so we're all very, very close family, probably abnormally close. And so we took it really hard, and didn't have really any other options except for me to just, I either needed to step up and step in, or we needed to just shut the business down. And there's too much here to let the second happen. So I stepped up, and that was in May of 22, and here we are today.
I love it. It's an incredible story, and I'm so grateful that I get to know this, in advance of interviewing you, and now I get to sit here and ask you some questions about it from the opposite side, because I've gotten to know your business, you through your business, but I'm actually really curious because it is an incredible story, and I absolutely love the journey, the hero's journey that you're on. And from my perspective, even though you might be a little bit feeling like you're in the thick of it, I can see an incredible path, as the story will unfold. But what are your aspirations? What are your goals for this? Like, you said you're gonna step up, but like, what are you trying to do with this business?
Yeah, I want it to solidify itself in its space. I think that's the first thing.
Yeah.
What we do, our approach has been, let's raise the barrier of entry to our competition, right? Let's do things that other people can't or won't or are afraid of, and let's take on the big challenges. And we built our reputation as a solid performer. If it can be designed, we can build it, and then so let's solidify our position as one of the top manufacturers for this equipment in North America. Right? We have some very good competitors in our space, but I think there's room for us to be the top. So that's just the first thing is, let's develop, continue to strengthen the company so that if I weren't in this chair, that it could continue to function the way that we'd want it to our expectations.
So
Beyond that,
can I?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it sounds like you want to take your family's legacy and professionalize the business and scale it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, I admire my father for everything that he's done. And I'll never achieve, in my mind, I will never achieve a place where I think that I would have eclipsed him. Okay. But I see things in the business and that kind of like you said, professionalized to a degree, but he ran it with his numbers in his way, you know, and it started out, I mean, it was him and, you know, really another business partner at the time. And then there were 5 employees, then there were 9 employees. So for the longest time, it was about a 75 employee company. And then he took it up to 150, 160. And then we came back down a little bit. But during that time frame, it was the people that founded the business and his inner circle that were executing. And they all did things the way that they did because that's what they knew, and they knew how to do it that way.
The company. Yeah.
We're at a phase now in the company where people they're retiring. You know, the old guard is moving, and we're bringing in new people who don't have that history or that experience in this business. And so for us to be solidified in our space, we have to do things to take that tribal knowledge that has been in the company and package it in a way where we can give it to someone and they can absorb it and take it and make it their own and use it in their roles.
Yeah, exactly. That's amazing. And I love the aspirations and goal, because I think for me it's really always so interesting for me to talk to other entrepreneurs that are building business and family, because I always want to know why you're doing it. You know, what is the point? And I think I got a little better glimpse of your why. And I love that it's multi-layered. I think it's really cool.
Well, here's the other part too. Let me just add on that for a second.
Please.
We have 220 some employees right now, and those are families, right?
Yeah.
You know, so I have goals for the business, and I want the business to thrive and to succeed. But personally, also in the business, I have goals, and that's to change people's normal, right? I want to bring people up. There's a nonprofit here in town that we're affiliated with, the Tulsa Dream Center, and they service a high-risk, low-income community. My parents were very involved in helping to establish that and develop the 3rd grade reading program. And there's correlations that take, you know, in Oklahoma, if they fail the 3rd grade reading program, then chances that those students will drop out of high school increases dramatically. And then the chances, the rate of incarceration for high school dropouts is super high, right? They just follow each other. So if what they've done at the Dream Center was to get this 3rd grade reading program going, so tutor these kids after school, get them up to the level so they don't fail that test, so they can go to 4th grade, they don't get held back and then drop out. And what that's doing, that's giving those children an opportunity to break a cycle that a lot of their generational background has succumbed to, right? And so I see that I've got an opportunity here to pay a great wage, to offer great benefits, security for people, to be able to have a family, to do better, to take a step up, right? And to change their normal. And my normal isn't normal for everybody, right?
Yeah.
But their normal doesn't have to be where they're stuck at. You know, I want my normal today to change. That's part of what we're doing here. I want in 5 years to look back and say, man, that was a great period of my life, but I'm glad I'm at this level now, right?
Yep.
I want to be able to take the people that are here with me, that are out there in the shop, that are doing the work. I want them to be able to have that opportunity to step up and change their lives too. And so that's a personal part of it for me.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I have a very, very high affinity for that mantra, and I equate it to a simple phrase. I say, what's the point of winning if there's no one to high five at the end?
Exactly.
And I love that you have that. I seriously feel like we're like supposed to be in that movie, Step Brothers here. Just nonstop similarities. I love it.
Totally.
So the other question I have is, what did your wife think about you jumping in and stepping up? Because that's a pretty big shift in your guys' time allotment capacity, and it's a commitment on both of you guys. And what does she think about you doing that once your father passed?
Yeah, she was very supportive. I think she knew that I really didn't It wasn't a question. It was just, this has to happen. Now, it's not like that all the time. Last year, we had an opportunity to purchase a competitor of ours. In our family and discussions and shareholder discussions, it was always a positive. Yes, this is a great thing. We need to do this. It's going to add capacity. It's going to strengthen the organization. My wife was completely against it. And, she said, no, you've got enough on your plate. That's the last thing that you need to take on. We talked through it. She was, in the end, agreeable to me doing it and proceeding forward, but she did not think that it was the right decision. And that's cool to be able to have someone that says, you know what, I think you're making the wrong choice here, but I'm still going to support you, right?
Totally.
And, it's just part of listening. We have to listen, and she listens to whenever I have things to say. Doesn't always agree. We don't have to agree all the time.
That's right.
But if we don't agree, let's at least stay together and support each other as we go through it. And that was the challenge that she took on, was knowing that that's my opinion. He's not going to go with my opinion, but I'm still going to do it. And I know that I have to do more things to support him now while he's doing this, but I'm willing to take that on. And she's done that. And fortunately, it has been a success for us to do that. But again, it's because she's been able to and was willing to take on more for me so that I could do more for this.
I love that. And then the $1 million question is, what do your kids think you do for work? And what do they think about you being the CEO here?
They love that I'm a boss.
Tell me more.
Yeah,
Tell me more.
That. They love that.
They understand that conceptually, right? They get the concept of you being, okay, got it.
Absolutely, they get that, yeah. And I don't think they get everything else that goes with that, though,
Got it, yeah.
Part of me growing up, as my dad was starting this business, okay, so we live on a ranch, okay? And it's about an hour from Tulsa. And so it's a long drive in and out. But I grew up on that ranch. And my dad, whenever I was about 8, 9, 10, he was starting this company. So he was gone. And he would come home on Friday nights. And most of the time he would be there Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday. And then Monday he would drive into work. And he had an apartment here in Tulsa where he would stay here because he would be in the office at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning and go home at 9 o'clock at night. So he didn't have time to make those drives. And the roads, we didn't have the interstate or the highway system that we have now. It was 2-lane road, and it was terribly long. It was an hour and 30-minute drive for him at that time. And so I grew up not away, but, my dad just wasn't in my life every single day, right? And that was okay for me because when he was, right? He was present, and he was active, and he was on the ranch. He would take me when on the weekends. We'd go and cut down trees and cut up firewood, and we'd go hunt, and we'd go work the show heifers, and we were together when he was there, right? Didn't have cell phones, didn't have distractions. It was all work, and we were working together, but it wasn't like we were working together because I was with my dad, right? And he was this big man. He was like 6'3", he was a football player at OU, and just muscles and tough, and he truly was a boss, right?
Yeah. And
in every aspect of his life. And so we had the opportunity, we sold the ranch, moved into town whenever I was teenage years, and now we were able to buy that property back and expand on it over the last 10 years. And when COVID happened, we were down there for spring break week, and kicked up, and there were 2 weeks to stop the spread and all that stuff. And I was like, let's just stay down here at the ranch for a little while. There's no reason to go back to our house in Tulsa. We can just hang out here, and it's more fun, at least be outside and all this land. And so we stayed down there over spring break and COVID, and then we just kind of never left. Started to grow. My wife, she loves chickens, and she's got chicken coops and chickens, and
it's awesome.
2 things. It's very important for me that the girls live a life like that, because I think that in agriculture, and whether they're showing heifers or taking care of other animals, that's going to instill in them a sense of responsibility that doesn't happen when you live in an urban area. It also exposes them to life, and it develops a sense of compassion, I think, is lacking in a lot of areas too. Not to mention the whole educational piece. We're doing artificial insemination, embryo transfer, all kinds of stuff with our cows. And so there is a lot of good learning and nutrition, taking care of our pastures, being good stewards of the land, operating equipment. I mean, they're exposed to so much in their daily life now over the last 5 years, than so much more than what they would have been if we just lived in our neighborhood and went to school and then went to basketball or volleyball and then go home and go to bed, right?
Yeah.
So me growing up that way, I absolutely wanted to raise my children, at least for a period of time, exposed to that. And so that's what we've been doing. So then going back to your original question, I think it's just offered so many different opportunities for my daughters, for my wife, and then well, let's get back to another question. I'm rambling here for a minute.
No, it's great. I love it. Oh, you don't want to finish that thought? You want to stop rambling? I don't think you're rambling.
Yeah,
at all.
I do. No.
Okay, I feel like you're getting close. I love it. I absolutely love what you're talking about, because you know this because we hung out and I told you, but I moved from San Francisco to Austin, and technically I don't really live in Austin. I kind of live in the country. I live north of Austin. And I will say it's been really, really fun to have land and be able to have my kids, like, go in the backyard. And, when I first moved here, I distinctly remember, because there's a lot of bugs and there's a lot of like critters and like stuff, there's like squirrels and coyotes and it's just like, and there's deer that'll come in and like, you come into our backyard. It's like it's their house, it's awesome. And I remember distinctly the first 6 months, my girls like really like being grossed out by the poop or the bugs and all these things. And then it only took them like 6 months, maybe even less. And now they're out there like with a basket and mason jars, like grabbing crickets and frogs and like collecting them and shoving them in the basket. And it's just like an amazing thing what your environment and location will do for your psyche and growth. And there's been a lot of studies, and I feel really proud that I chose the right decision. And after the fact, because I didn't do this intentionally, I wasn't smart enough to do it intentionally. But there's a lot of studies that show more than what you as a parent say to your kids, it's literally the location that'll impact and influence them way more than anything you will ever teach them. And which is a fascinating concept to me. But I'm really glad that I'm here for those exact reasons that you said. Obviously, everything you said resonates with me so much, because I think that those are the core skills that we actually need to teach. Because if you get so placated by digital technology and advancement of technology, and you forget how things are built, you don't know how the world works. You don't know, even like raising cattle, like, right? You're teaching them life and death, quite literally. And these are complex concepts, and it's becoming almost so insulated with our child rearing these days, and so I think it's a really powerful message.
You're absolutely right. And then there's also a sense of freedom that comes in this life, right? And that lifestyle, because, we lived in a nice neighborhood in a suburb of Tulsa and felt safe, never had any issues. But I would not let my daughters go outside and play in the front yard alone. It's just, you wouldn't do that.
Just in case. Yeah.
And now backyard maybe, okay, but definitely not the front yard, but where we're at right now, they could hop on a four-wheeler, take a dog, and disappear for 30 minutes and have no concerns, right? My 14-year-old, she's driving a pickup truck. And regularly around the ranch. And I get it all the time. Dad, can I drive? Can we go for a drive up to the store? No, not yet.
I love it.
There's a freedom that comes with that is important. I experienced it. I wanted them to experience it, and because life's not always like that, and you don't always have these opportunities.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think I have a good understanding of what success looks like for you in the business. I think it's very clear, and you've articulated it incredibly well, and it gives me a really good perspective of how you're thinking about that. But I would love to know if you can sum up what you think success looks like for you as a dad in this next chapter, because I know that you've instilled with them the moving back to the ranch, and which is really, really awesome that you actually went back to your family house, which is awesome. That in itself is very poetic. But what do you think you're doing? What are your goals and aspirations? What does success look like for you as a dad over the next 5 years?
Man, just to raise girls that are confident in themselves, right? And aren't moved by emotions or people or friends or words, that are secure in who they are as a person, what they know, and comfortable in their skin. If I know that in 5 years that they're achieving the education goals that we've set and that they've set for them, that they are content and fulfilled in their extracurricular or their activities that they're participating in, or the life path that they've chosen, and are just secure in who they are as a person, then I think that's a success.
I love that.
We all
Yeah.
struggle. We all have our own insecurities, struggles, I've talked about imposter syndromes and things of that nature. And I want them to know that, I just want them to know who they are, and to be okay with who they are, and to know that who they are is okay.
Yeah. I love that. And I think you're a really good teacher for that because you role model it really well. I was actually very, very confident in my decision to like you, not only as professionally but also personally, based on my last visit, because you are also unabashedly very true to yourself. And most entrepreneurs at your stage and size of business are not that transparent or vulnerable. And so kudos to you for whatever that's worth. You definitely have another fan here and
Well,
advocate.
I attribute a big portion of that to my relationship with the Lord. And I know where I am with him, and I know who he is in my life. And, I'm confident that if I didn't have the relationship that I do with the Lord, that I wouldn't be where I am today. I'm a firm believer that he has a plan for us, and that we have to walk it out. And sometimes it's a challenge. It's not always good stuff. There's hard things in life that we all deal with. I know that my faith is in him, and that he's got his plan is for my life is for good, right? And so if I can just continue, if I persevere and grind through the hard, that it's going to end up okay. It will be okay.
That's beautiful. I love it. Okay, so I do want to make sure I respect your time here. You have, I know, incredibly busy schedule because I've actually seen you work. So let me move on to my rapid fire questions and get you on your way here. So one piece of advice you have for other parents or soon-to-be parents, and actually I can tweak this if you want to tweak it and do something different. I would love your advice for me because I am also a two-girl dad, and my kids are not teenagers yet, so any advice you have for me before they become teenagers?
Man, just be you, be real to them. I think in my role as a CEO and as a father, one thing that is very clear to me is that, there's no compromise when it comes to integrity, right? There cannot be. To be successful in our roles, we have to have the support and the buy-in of our team, whether it's, my vice president or my daughter or my wife. I have to have the buy-in, and it has to be based on a level of trust and integrity that we're in this together and we're going to make this work. So no compromise in that area at all. And so my youngest is struggling. We started homeschooling this year for the first time, and my oldest loves it. She's thriving. My youngest, she's doing great with her schoolwork, but she's missing her friends. And the two different classes had completely different dynamics, and so I can see how this has unfolded. And they trust me that we're doing the right thing, but it's hard. So there's going to be times where, you make a decision as a parent, and they trust you and they're doing it, but they don't like what they're doing, right? And there's an emotional side of it. And with girls at certain ages, emotions become heightened, and it's hard for them to understand at that time what's going on and why they're feeling the way that they are. And so for me, I just know if I'm level with them and as transparent and honest as I can be, but still firm as a father and in a loving way, then that keeps us on a foundation where we can communicate, and they trust me and their mother, and we can continue to develop whatever it is that we're working on. I don't know. Something that's important to me about being a dad.
It's a great piece of advice. I think integrity across the board is absolutely hard to achieve, and it's almost a level of transparency and vulnerability to be that integrous across the board. But I do believe you.
Well, that's the thing. When you try to truly, you have to represent the vulnerable side of you too. But and as a man, it's sometimes it's hard for us to do that, to show that, and but it's okay to do that, right? And
Absolutely.
So we got to process and get to that point where I'm okay showing them that I'm a vulnerable person too, right?
Yeah.
And I have feelings that I don't like sometimes, or that are hard for me to process, but through communication and the trust that's there, we can communicate with each other. And what is it? We listen, but we don't judge, right? I mean, it's a easy way to say it.
Yeah. That's really funny. That's a really great answer, and I love that. And I really appreciate you sharing your advice there. That's really profound for me, and I definitely think that it rings true. And I think it matters as all parents, right? But especially as girl dads, I think it's really important because, I think that there is a level of communication and vulnerability that you do need to have, possibly more than if you had a son, And so it's important no matter what, but you know what I'm saying, right? Like
Sure,
there's
yes.
probably a level
Yes.
of heightened need for that. So that's really great. I know you like to read and listen to podcasts, but do you happen to have a favorite book or podcast that you can share with the listeners?
Well, yeah, I listen a lot because I'm on the road, and the most recent ones I've liked quite a bit is The Hard Thing About the Hard Things. That's great. You turned me onto that one. That is I took a lot out of that,
Yes.
And I've also been listening just because of the business traction. I want to understand more and grow more as a leader. Different methods, different methodologies of management and organizational structure and development. He's trying to just add another piece or think about something and see if it's consider adding something or not. One thing that has really come on to me lately has not necessarily been, what can we add? What do we need to take away?
That's right.
What are we wasting our time and resources doing, right? Should we be focusing on this in our company? Maybe not. Maybe that's, it was maybe a great revenue generator years ago, but is it worth it today for what it's costing us? So taking away things is something. Let's see. Extreme ownership's a great one. There's a lot there.
I need to check that one out. Never heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. And then The Journey of Leadership. I just started that one, and so those are some. Of course, I try to read my Bible every day too, and at least get some verses in. I think that there's so many fundamental truths that are in that. Not to mention the gospel, and so I think that if going back to legacy, going back to, my daughters and where I'd want to see them. Obviously, I want everyone to have the opportunity to hear the gospel, to know about Jesus and what he can do in our lives and what awaits us in eternity. And so that's another, that is probably the most important. It definitely is the most important thing that I probably want to share to anybody that sees this podcast and listens to you, is that Jesus is real. He wants to have a relationship with you. He wants to help you and to guide you and to give you an opportunity to spend eternity with him. That's probably the most important thing that I could say to any person at any time in their life.
I love it. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. And then to bring us home, when you're not building the next awesome American manufacturing company and building a great, employee experience and business, and you're not being a super dad, teaching your kids, on the ranch, what do you do for fun? What are your downtime activities?
Man, I like to travel. I love traveling. We travel every chance we get.
Nice.
Yes. So our family, it's family for us. I mean, my mother, of course, with my dad starting the business, she was partners with him in everything that he did. We're a very, like I mentioned earlier, abnormally close family. My sisters, so we spend a lot of time with our family and doing things collectively. My youngest and I'll tell you, we're a pretty mean duo when it comes to Fortnite. We get out there and so we spend a little bit of time together doing that. Lilly and I, so that's probably my downtime, is I'll try to do something with each daughter individually too,
Cool.
And have something where Madeline and I are connected on one thing, Lilly and I are connected on another. And so really, when I'm not doing this, I'm a dad. And
That's awesome.
so I used to play some golf.
Yeah.
Used to do other things, but it's either work or being a dad. That's my life right now, and I love it.
Sounds like a good life. Yeah, I love it. Well, Stephen, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to talk to me and let me get to know you a little bit better for the show. I really appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you, Young. Thank you.
Stephen, I'll see you soon. I'm going to swing by in January.
Yes.
We're going to go weld some stuff together, okay? You got to hold your word.
I'm going to. I got you some gloves and we're going to go ahead to put on.
We'll talk to you soon. Happy holidays.
Thank you, Young. Yes.